Good morning, everybody. How are we doing on this beautiful Friday morning? I'm Dr. Heather Denniston. This is the Junk You Should Know show, and I am coming to you from a coffee house. I am up at some friend's place, and so hopefully you're going to be able to hear me. When you sign on, let me know that you can hear me okay. And I would like to know what your natural solution is for gastric discomfort or indigestion. So that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about natural solutions for digestive discomfort, and you are going to be surprised by some of them. As always, the Junk You Should Know show is sponsored by the Change Cave, which is a 12-module online membership for women over 40 who are interested in upping their wellness game. We do challenges, we have mindset classes, we have weekly emails, we have a fierce group of like-minded women in a Facebook group where we all support each other in our wellness strategies and goals. So I hope you will come and join us. I'll put the link down below. When you sign on also, I'd love to know where you're coming from. I'd like to hear where viewers are joining in from, and if you are joining live, I just love that. If you are watching in replay, I love you just as much. I don't love you any less. So we are going to jump right into it. One of the things that I typically start with when I start discussing gastric discomfort, digestive issues, is the fact that many of us have come to see burping, farting, bloating, cramping, all of those kinds of things as normal. And what we need to understand is that they're not normal, they are common, but our bodies are not meant to be consciously aware of the digestive process. It is supposed to be going on behind the conscious curtain, subconsciously. And so the fact that we have to undo a top button, or we feel kind of gassy and burpy, and all of that is a signal from our body to let us know that either we've eaten something wrong, we've eaten too much, or we do not have the right bugs and things to digest and absorb our food correctly. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is kind of hitting all of these different issues when we do get this discomfort, indigestion, whatever it might be for you. So one of the things that I am so guilty of, and my sister, if she joins us today, I think she will be a little bit later, is eating too fast. And I was at a conference once, and he, I felt guilty first, but then I got over it, and I started to own the fact that when you eat too fast, you are losing so much opportunity from the food you're eating, because it can't possibly digest and absorb the way it's supposed to. So the idea is that you're going to chew your food until it's a paste, until it almost disappears in your mouth, because of course that's the first line of enzymatic process, is your mouth. So one of the things that we can result in digestive distress is when we don't chew our food enough, we eat too quickly, we swallow too fast. We might eat foods that we're sensitive to or allergic to, and many of us aren't aware of that. And again, we just think it's normal or common to have discomfort or bloating or fatigue or different things that you can get from reactions to food. And it's really important that we investigate that and look into, are you gluten sensitive? Are you dairy sensitive? Those are probably two of the most common. Corn is another one. Eggs is another one. Hi, whoever just signed on. Let me know where you're coming in from. And so that's another thing, is just making sure that your food sensitivities are not part of the problem. So again, the idea is that digestion is supposed to go on behind the conscious curtain. We're not supposed to be grossly aware of what's happening during our digestive process. And so if we are getting signals, then we need to be paying attention to them. So we want to not just band-aid or mask these issues. And so we're talking about quick fix solutions, natural solutions, and those are important. But what's more important is to take a few steps back, take a bigger look at why is this happening in the first place. And so just recapping: eating too fast, food sensitivities, not just eating foods that don't jive with your system, having an alimentary canal or a digestive canal that is not in good health. These are all reasons that this may be happening. And so to kind of look at the long game and make sure you're making adjustments for that. But today we're going to jump into some solutions, because sometimes it's going to happen and you want to be able to address it. Okay, so let's just jump right into that. I'm going to put them up on the screen for you. Number one, probiotics. Most of us know what a probiotic is at this point, but if you don't, probiotics, you can think of them as little tiny bugs that line your small intestine and operate to help break down and absorb your food better. They are in a healthy balance with the yeasts of your intestinal tract as well. And when they're not in a healthy balance with the yeast and we get yeast overgrowth or probiotic decrease, then our digestion slows. It does not work as well. We don't get as much of the nutrients from the foods. So I advise my clients very often that there are 3 essential nutrients that you just have to supplement with, and that is probiotics, fish oil, and vitamin D. And so probiotics, I think, are that important. And we eat a diet, we live in a culture, we're exposed to toxins. There's so many different things that affect our probiotic balance that I think supplementing with it is just essential and elemental for digestion. So how do you pick which one? First of all, your probiotics should come from a refrigerator, because if they have been deemed shelf stable, that means they've been altered to the point that they are no longer in their most natural state, which would be to become alive at room temperature, and then they would die. So you're either dealing with half-dead probiotics or probiotics that have been shifted to the point that it makes me wonder if they're going to colonize in the way that they should in the digestive tract. So when you get them refrigerated, that is one signal that you are getting a little bit higher quality and that you have a higher chance of those bugs doing what they need to do once they hit your digestive system. One great tip I got from somebody that I deeply respect is to keep changing the probiotic you are using, because lots of probiotics come with different strains, different amounts of bugs, and it's really good to get a variety. So although I do recommend a certain brand, and I'll list that in the comments below, you can also kind of alternate across a few different probiotics. And don't forget, you can get probiotics from your food in addition. So fermented foods and are absolutely essential. Kombucha is another option as well. So that's probiotics. So let's jump to the next one, which is enzymes. Now, I find that most people do know what probiotics are. They don't necessarily know how to take enzymes. Before I understood fully what my food sensitivities were, I was using enzymes a lot because they were very, very helpful. And there's 2 ways that I take them and that I recommend that you take them. There's a chewable kind that you just chew, at the front end of a meal, and it helps you digest the food in the moment. Another kind is a swallowable kind of enzyme that takes a little bit longer to break down, but often is stronger. And so I would alternate back and forth. Hi, whoever just joined, back and forth between those 2, and it can be extremely helpful to help you break down food and move it through your system a little bit more easily. Sometimes if I was out at a restaurant and I didn't know if I was going to get exposed to something that my body didn't like, I would take enzymes as a precautionary tool, and you can do that as well. Very, very helpful for bloating and for gas, and for when you have trouble digesting food. Extra enzymes added in with the meal can be super useful. Moving on. This one is a surprise one for many people, and that's essential oils. First of all, a lot of people don't realize that certain essential oils can be taken internally. You need to make sure you have a super high quality essential oil before you ever take any kind of oil internally. So I'm a big recommender of doTERRA. Young Living is another excellent brand. Those are brands I would trust to allow inside my body because of the way they source it and the way they prepare it and process it and package it. It's much cleaner than a lot of the oils that are out there. Hello, whoever just checked in. And so you can take things like peppermint and lavender and licorice, and doTERRA even has a blend called Digestive that is excellent for taking it internally when you're having some gastric discomfort. You can also rub it on your belly, and it's very effective. So essential oils are a great solution when you're having gastritis complaints or gastric complaints. Okay, make sure to put any questions you have in the comments as we're going through these. Here's another one. Hey, Hillary. Here's another one. Glutamine. This is one I discovered not that long ago, and it was a big discovery for me because I was having some big problems with bloating. Couldn't identify what the foods were that were causing it the most, and glutamine was just an amazing solution. It is an amino acid. It improves gut. It's key factors in growth and repair of the gut. It helps balance mucus. It also helps with moving contents through your bowel. And so glutamine, I like to recommend you take it as a powder. Take a high quality brand such as something like Pure Encapsulations, Metagenics, Standard Process. Those are all really good. So glutamine, scoop in water, especially in the moment when you feel bloated, it can help, but also just as a precautionary supplement to take that, it's great. And so that's glutamine, an amino acid. We've got next bone broth, and many folks don't realize that bone broth is an excellent digestive aid. If you have a nice, clean, organic bone broth, preferably homemade, but doesn't have to be, it's loaded with collagen, which of course is very helpful for the digestive tract, and it's got all sorts of nutrients and things that your body loves, including the healthy fats. So if your tummy is upset, sipping some bone broth can be really helpful. It's also good for long-term gut repair. So if you think just in general you've got a gut that is not in a healthy place, 2 cups of bone broth a day over a few months can really help as part of the plan to repair that. Next, this is a surprise for many folks as well, hydrochloric acid. Because antacid companies really wanted us to believe for a long time that the problem was acid, too much acid in our stomach. So we've been led to believe that we need to suppress that acid because it's what's giving us ulcers, affecting our digestion, etc. In fact, many people are too low in hydrochloric acid. The nature of the diet that many of us eat can suppress hydrochloric acid, which then slows digestion. You might notice this if in bowel movements you see actual food that hasn't been digested. That is definitely a sign that you're low on HCl. You can luckily take HCl with as a supplement now, and it's combined with pepsin, and which is an enzyme, digestive enzyme, and the two of them together really, really helpful. Now, this is more of a longer term solution instead of like just in the moment, although it does help in the moment. But it does tend to be something that you take consistently if you're having ongoing gut rot, as I like to call it, or bloatado. Okay, fasting. This one is so helpful. And I think some people feel like they just don't, it's not on the radar for gastric discomfort to be connected to fast or to have fasting as a solution. I highly recommend it. So if you have some ongoing gastric discomfort, incorporating a practice of fasting, whether it's a 24-hour fast or maybe it's intermittent fasting where you just go a little longer, where you have a non-feeding window that's a little longer than what is typical, it gives your body, two things happen. One is it gives your body the opportunity to completely process the food that's there and then give it a little rest. Secondly, when we get into a fasting cycle, cellular regeneration starts to happen. We start to clean our cells, restore our cells, build new cells, and the gut lining is nothing but just tons and tons of cells that need cleaning and resorbing and rebuilding. And so when our gut is free of food, our cells have the opportunity to do that. They have the opportunity to clean themselves and regenerate. And so fasting can be an excellent gut healing tool. Now, let's talk about a couple bonuses, okay? So 2 bonuses today. Oh, I spelled it wrong. ACV, apple cider vinegar, and hot lemon water. These are both excellent digestive tools, especially even in the moment. You can get relief by taking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar or just a cup of water with some hot lemon in it. Alkalizing, which can be very, very helpful and just soothing, and it just tastes good and feels good. And put in the comments below if any of you do use apple cider vinegar as a digestive tool or the hot lemon water, kind of to prime your digestive system to be healthier. Starting out your day with that can be really helpful too, to just kind of alkalize your digestive tract so it breaks down and absorbs your foods better. Let's talk about misconceptions. Antacids, milk, ginger ale. These were what, in my younger years, what my parents would use when they had an upset tummy. Ginger ale, milk, antacids, that was their solutions. But we know a little bit more about it now. So let's take antacids to begin with. We said back when we talked about hydrochloric acid that often digestive distress is not an extra gastric acid issue. Or too much gastric acid issue. And so suppressing that isn't necessarily the best thing. And using too many antacids can leach phosphorus from your bone, which then can cause some calcium depletion. And so antacids, even though some of them come with calcium, it's hilarious because in fact, they have been linked to some osteopenic changes in people. And so antacids just aren't a great choice. And especially when you have the suggestion of enzymes back there, chewable enzymes work better than an antacid. And so I will put the link to those down below. They're just, I think, far superior and less risky. Now, milk, we had this concept of coating the stomach was a good idea. I'm not sure who thought of that, considering that most of our enzymatic process comes from the lining of the stomach. Why would we want to coat it? But the bigger issue is that dairy is inflammatory. So unless you are just drinking the purest, most well-sourced grass-fed dairy, dairy typically is going to cause inflammation in your system, and that is counteractive to a good digestive process. So no milk. And ginger ale, I think we know what's wrong with that. The ginger is perfect. But the fact is that there's about 26 teaspoons of sugar in a bottle of ginger ale, and sugar is a deterrent and a depressor of healthy digestive processing. So no antacids, no milk, no ginger ale. Let's recap real quick. So we talked about probiotics and making sure that you are getting probiotics that are refrigerated and that you are alternating which probiotics you use so you get some variety, and that you are also getting probiotics from your food, fermented foods, and kombucha. It's great. Enzymes, we talked about chewable and swallowable, excellent source to help the digestive process. And then essential oils, we talked about glutamine. I recommend the powder form for that. Bone broth. HCl is another really good one for helping the digestive process along and helping improve gut health in general. We talked about fasting, and then a couple of bonuses. We talked about apple cider vinegar and hot LEMONM water. It's supposed to be lemon. And so those are just some natural solutions for gastric discomfort because lots of us run into that. But again, as a reminder, and we talked about this at the beginning of the show, we want to look at why are we getting that. So are we eating too fast? Are we eating overly processed foods? Do we have food sensitivities? Is our stress level so high that our digestive juices are just non-existent? There are lots. Are we dehydrated? There are lots of reasons that we could have gastric discomfort. And so we want to look at the big picture as well as how we treat it in the moment. So guys, Hillary, it's so great you were watching live. Thank you so much. And to anyone else who was watching live, thank you as well. I see there's a couple other viewers right now. And for those of you watching in replay, I love you just as much. And thank you so much for stopping by today, guys. The Junk You Should Know show airs every Friday at noon PST. And as I said, I'm coming to you from a coffee shop today. And thank you for being patient with some of the background noise. It was probably a little distracting. I will put some links down below So if you want to know more about different types of enzymes or probiotics, I'll have some links down there and you guys can take advantage of that. And remember, the Junk You Should Know show lives forever on YouTube. So if you've not subscribed to the Well Fit and Fed YouTube channel, head on over to YouTube and do that so that you can get notification when new shows get posted. All right, everybody have a wonderful weekend. I love seeing you guys. So check in soon and I will be in touch. Bye-bye.